This PPT reviews transitions of contrast and some differences in meaning and usage that you might not be aware of. These are some of the most common transitions of contrast. If you generally want to talk about a difference without defining a specific meaning or a specific purpose behind it, you can just say but, or although, even though, or however. If you want to indicate there's a surprise in the result or outcome, but surprisingly, then nevertheless or nonetheless are the transitions to consider. And when you want to talk about a difference on the other side of something, either almost opposite or opposite of the first idea, then we typically use on the other hand, in contrast, or on the contrary. Here are some sentences for the first example, the general contrast or general difference of but. Although I do not like vegetables, I eat them. I eat vegetables even though I do not like them. I eat vegetables. However, I do not like them. So this is just a general contrast. I want to point out that with although and even though, both the original idea and the contrasting idea are in the same sentence grammatically. With however, the first idea is in the first sentence and the contrasting idea is in a separate sentence. You do not put them in the same sentence. You do not connect however to the first idea with commas. You use a period or semicolon. Here are a couple of examples showing contrast with a surprising or unexpected outcome or result. The child was the last person to begin the race. Nevertheless, he came in first place. The employee was discovered stealing supplies. Nonetheless, he kept his job. So if you think about both of these examples, the second idea is a little bit different maybe from what most people would expect to happen. And as with however, both ideas are in separate sentences. The original idea is in the first sentence and the contrasting idea is with the transition in a separate sentence, usually following right after the first sentence. Here are some examples of how we use transitions when we want to talk about the other side of a situation. Learning a new language is difficult. On the other hand, it provides valuable benefits. Home prices in California are extremely high. In contrast, Ohio has much lower prices for homes. This neighborhood has never been safe. On the contrary, it has one of the highest rates of crime in the city. So I want to point out again, these transitions are in separate sentences from the original idea. So you have the original idea, a period or semicolon, and then the contrasting idea in a separate sentence with the transition at the beginning to introduce that difference. In addition to that, these transitions are also used in different situations to talk about the other side. We typically use on the other hand when we are contrasting two differences of the same situation. Learning a new language is difficult. On the other hand, it provides valuable benefits. So we're talking about two sides of learning a language, one positive, one negative. California has a very dry climate, which can age skin. On the other hand, it has pleasant, warm temperatures, making it easier to exercise outdoors. So again, we start with a negative about California, and then we go to the other side, which is a positive about California. Last example, wine can make a person sleepy. On the other hand, it can also cause a person to wake up in the middle of the night. So in this sentence, it's not so much negatives and positives, but two opposite effects that one substance, wine, can have on a person. We use in contrast when we want to compare similar elements that have contrasting differences, almost opposite differences. So if you look at the first example, you will see this. Home prices in California are extremely high. In contrast, Ohio has much lower prices for homes. The similar elements are California and Ohio. Both of them are states. The differences are the home prices. In California, they are extremely high. In Ohio, they are much lower. In contrast is a special kind of transition because you have a choice of using it in two separate sentences or having both ideas in the same sentence. Look at the second example. In contrast to the high home prices in California, the prices in Ohio are much lower. So when both ideas are in the same sentence, there is a little difference to using the transition. We use in contrast to plus noun. If we're using in contrast, then the ideas have to be in two separate sentences. Look at the last two examples. My brother likes to be active outdoors. In contrast, I enjoy staying indoors, reading a good book, or watching a movie. So the similar elements are people, and even people in the same family. One of them likes to be active outdoors. The other one likes to be active indoors, reading a book, or watching a movie. And if you put those ideas in one sentence, it looks like this. In contrast to my brother, who likes to be active outdoors, I enjoy staying indoors, reading a good book, or watching a movie. On the contrary is used to contradict a previously stated claim or the implied idea behind a previously stated claim. Look at the first example. This neighborhood has never been safe. On the contrary, it has one of the highest rates of crime in the city. If you look at this at first glance, it looks like both sentences are saying the same thing. However, in the first sentence, the implication of safety is made when you state that claim negatively. Therefore, you can use on the contrary because you state the other side of safety, one of the highest rates of crime in the city. So you're stating two opposite sides, even though the first one is only implied. If you want to combine the ideas into one sentence, you do the same thing you do within contrast. You add to. So you say, contrary to popular belief, this neighborhood has one of the highest crime rates in the city. In this sentence, it's a little easier to see that the belief is that the neighborhood is safe. And then the contradiction is it has one of the highest crime rates in the city. Take a look at the last two examples. The candidate claims his tax plan will benefit the middle class. On the contrary, the plan taxes the middle class more than other groups of people. Or you can say, contrary to the candidate's claims, his tax plan taxes the middle class more than other groups of people. So in the last two examples, it's a little easier to see the two contradictory claims, and it's fine to use on the contrary or contrary to when you are very clear that the claims are quite different from the reality. If you're not quite sure, you can always use one of the general transitions, but, although, even though, to help you out.